Heyo everybody, Haku here with my review for Tower of God Chapter 431, or Season 3, Episode 14. Yeah, super excited to talk about this week's. I really don't feel like I have that many notes. Uh, I feel like it's one of those things where there's not a lot of big discussion things, but at the same time, a ton happened. Like, there were a lot of, sort of twists and events, but nothing that really, makes me think I need to go really in depth on discussing any possibilities. But either way, let's start from the beginning. So we get to see Bomb using the Water Dragon Heavy Storm, and it is absolutely insane, crazy powerful. It looks amazing. I love it. And he could have potentially killed a Ranker with it. And it's super, super cool. Now, one of the things is, of course, Bomb being a regular, stronger than a Ranker. And a lot of the stuff that's happened, not even just recently, but that's happened for a while now, is kind of, CU's kind of shattered his continuity a lot. But it's one of those things where you need to enjoy Tower of God for what it is, for the fun and excitement of the week-to-week stories, because it's just been apparent for a while now that the way it's written, it's not going to be a super tight, cohesive story like some other long-running series, so you gotta enjoy it for what it is. I love Jordan, though, and Jordan's powers, and Jordan and Bomb as a group together, all of that, I love it so much. Jordan hasn't even been around for very long, but I love him so much. He's a plant type, apparently, and he uses Little Forest in order to bind the attendant guy. Now, it was a cool move. I just like the idea of him being just this big, strong sort of guy who's addicted to fighting, and he uses plants, and his arm transformation looks awesome. We still haven't seen what the third stage could possibly be. So the attendant tells Jordan the truth, and what we get from that is that we learn that somebody even as highly ranked as Jordan, at like 8th in the group, doesn't know the truth. And with him learning the truth, it kind of opens up a whole new thing. He's going to be sending the information to Gato, and we'll see how that storyline plays out a little bit later. But before I get ahead of myself, the attendant's also talking about how his brother always trained for revenge, and then the high priest came to them to, at least, yeah, I believe he said the high priest came to them one day and said, okay, it's time to infiltrate, time for our revenge. And he also mentions there's a bomb in his head, bam, he dies. And, yeah, that was his story. That was kind of sad. I really feel like he didn't need to die there. Because, he spilled all their secrets. Why'd he have to die? He spilled all their secrets. It's not like it was to keep him from giving away information. He really gave away a lot of information. And then he killed himself. And it's not like he was going to be tortured or anything. Because right now, it almost seems as if they might have the number advantage. They could be potentially winning, and if he was expecting to win, he should want to keep himself at least in the sort of capacity of being alive so that he could be freed by one of his allies and then go back to fighting. Yeah, I didn't think about that even when I was taking my notes. Killing himself doesn't make much sense, actually. So yeah. Because it doesn't make much sense, because he already spilled a lot of the beans of what's going on here. He even said that the High Priest is the one that came to him and explained all this. So, yeah, that's really weird now that I think about it even more. And this is just me talking through it is different from taking notes on it. Just to hearing me say it, I'm like, wait, that doesn't make sense. Why'd he have to die? But Jordan sends the information to Gato, who decides not to wake Yama, and I like the idea of Yama sleeping through this whole thing. So Yama's gonna sleep through this whole thing while everybody else is fighting over what's going on, and then, I like the idea of that everything's happening while the main big boss is asleep. But we know that that's not how the whole arc is going to play out. He's probably going to wake up towards the end and come in to join the fight. But we go from there to having the Firefish reviving Kun, and now he can fully see it. And also Lulu's still alive. Then we have a person on call with Michael's group and with Paul. And I think the person on the call we can probably assume is the High Priest. And the High Priest and Paul both say, hey, so some guy told us that now was the time to infiltrate. What a coincidence that we're infiltrating at the same time. And the guy on the call's like, yeah, that's the Elder. So the Elder must want to replace Yama. So apparently the Elder told the High Priest and all of his minions and people, and Michael's working for them and everything, they've told them to go and infiltrate, and they've also told Paul and his group to go infiltrate. Now, Paul also mentions that a few years ago he got coordinates, and the way it was sort of with the same thought, I was like, oh, so what was the point of Cheng then if this guy came and gave him coordinates and told him to infiltrate, but even though it was in the same thought, he was it was two separate events. So I like that a few years ago does match up, because it would have been 2 or so, maybe even going on 3 years ago, depending on how long they spent in the Hell Train after that time, that Chang left with Elliot and Angel. So that all makes sense. That all kind of fits together. Paul then sees a fight in the distance. It's probably Culden fighting the guy's brother, and since the guy's brother was given some development by the one who died, saying, oh, he always trained for revenge, there's a chance that he could continue on as not like an important character, but as a somewhat important kind of side character, just because he's been given development already. But who knows, they could just kill him off for all we know. Kanzone then confronts Gato. He admits to being the one that had been holding Deng Deng, and says that Deng Deng is different from other canine people, and he's likely not Gato's real son. Also, Roland's hella cute. Roland's adorable. They all then get word of a high ranker energy in the festival area, probably Paul getting involved, and Gato reveals that he is a traitor. So both sides seem bad. Like, Yama is being portrayed by Paul's group as this guy who kicked out his brothers and took over, and he's a tyrant who kind of betrayed a portion of his people. So they're sort of portraying Yama as a bad guy, and Kanzone, of course, is power hungry and was keeping Deng Deng captive and everything. So they're not good, but on the other side of things, Paul's a total asshole. And like the people working with him, like the High Priest people, are total assholes. So it's like both sides here are bad. Bomb is like stuck in this fight between two sides who are seemingly bad. Now, I think the one thing that could come out of this, though, still a theory I've got going, is that we could learn more about maybe his brothers were really crappy people, so Yama's actually a good guy, and that's the reason that Yama sealed one away and kicked the other one out, is because Paul and the other brother were terrible. So we could get a turn where we learn that Yama is actually a good guy all along. And of course that would make us feel more for Yama, and it would make more sense for him to be presented as an ally for Bomb at that point. Now in the blog, Siu says that Jordan is a strong green hot dog, and he also mentions that Gato is really strong, which makes sense. I mean, he's in this group second only to Yama himself. So he mentions that Gato's really strong, and Bomb could be in trouble here if a bunch of people are defecting. So yeah, thoughts as a whole, I love Bomb and Jordan. I really, really do. Jordan is such a good character already. I also really like the thought of the Elder manipulating all this behind the scenes. That the Elder's like, oh, we need to replace Yama, so they set into motion this stuff where they're bringing the High Priest group and they're bringing Paul's group there, and they didn't really tell either group about each other. They're just sending them both in to sort of knock Yama off his throne and revive the brother. So I actually really like the idea of somebody being this mysterious person to manipulate things behind the shadows. I think that adds a bit of mystery and intrigue into the story. And yeah, also, not sure who to side with here, because both sides seem bad. Like, from what they're saying, it seems like Paul's group kind of has a case going on, but I do think we're going to figure out something that's going to make Yama more, he's already likable, but more likable in an actual good guy sense. So, I think we're going to learn a little bit more, because Paul his group seems totally bad. Like, they're being presented with this backstory as if they have a point, but then their current actions of just going around murdering people and stuff seems like they're pretty bad. So it's hard to tell. Also, somebody brought up in the comments a good theory. I think it may have been Kulfu, that it could have actually been some bit of, what's the word I'm thinking of here? Some bit of foreshadowing when Kunai Agnes made the mistake and thought Louis was Dang Dang. Perhaps that was some foreshadowing that Dang Dang isn't the real son of Gato, and Gato admitted he's not his real son. And it could even mean that Louis is his real son, and that's why Louis was raised next to Dang Dang and stuff. It's just that Louis was always told the opposite, reverse, wrong thing his whole life. So, yeah, Louis could be his real son. But either way, I would give it a 8.5 traders out of 10, because it's like, on the one hand, we just saw a Kun fake out death with the heart explodey stuff, and now we had another one. But I'm kind of fine with it, because they both happen in kind of different ways, and it's a way to introduce an interesting new thing for Kunai Agnes to be doing with the flame of Yan Woon envisioned in this fish shape. So yeah, I would say that, it's not perfect to just throw us into 2 fake out deaths back to back like that, but I don't mind it. And everything else was just straight good. I like throwing more twists into things, makes it more fun and interesting to read week to week, which really matters. Because even if the story was just this tightly woven masterpiece where everything connected to everything and everything made sense, I wouldn't really care if that made it boring week to week or if that made it predictable. I would rather have the writing be like, not exactly perfect, but be fun to read week to week, because, I want a reason to read it week to week. So yeah, that's it. 8.5 out of 10. I really enjoyed it, thought it was fun. So, like if you did like the video, comment down there, tell me what you thought of this chapter, what you thought of my thoughts on it, subscribe for more, Tower of God, much more on the channel. Follow on Twitter if you want, I can try to keep you updated there and stuff for the channel or talk to you there, and if you want a link to our Discord server to talk to me or more of us there, just ask and I can give you a link. That's it. Thank you once again for watching, and I'll see you all next time.